What is going on, guys? We are back, and today we're going to be actually working on upgrading the defenses of our base. Now this may seem a little random and almost pointless, but the reasoning behind it is sitting right in front of us. Now this little guy was in my base when I logged on, so clearly someone else placed him there because I didn't, and he is from the mod Open Computers, and Nonsanity is the only one, as far as I'm aware, that has messed around with the mod Open Computers on the server. So that means that Nonsanity came into our base and placed this guy. And Nonsanity has also been threatening to prank me back for almost a month now, and he said it would be so subtle that I might not even know I've been pranked, and he also said it would be a really good prank. So we might have already been pranked. This guy might be the prank because when you break him, he leaves his ghost here permanently. That may be the prank. The prank might also be somewhere else in our base, or this might just be a little threat, like a haha, I can prank you whenever I want kind of thing. So we're going to do what we can to protect ourselves, and that might not be that much, but I'm going to have fun with it, and I'm going to try my best to prevent him from pranking us good. So we are going to be using this shield projector from RFTools, and we're going to be putting a couple of them in our base, and what they do is almost make like a force field. They can make one that you can walk through, and it will damage certain things based on the settings of the projected force field, or you can make one that will make pretty much a solid barrier of whatever block you want. Now, I'm not sure what happens if they try and break that block, if it's possible to break it or not. We can check that out later. But this is the first area that we're going to be upgrading the defenses in, because this is the main access point to our base. Essentially, this is the only way into our base if you don't break any blocks. So I'm guessing this is where they got in. This is linked to the central spawn, so it's really easy to get in here. So what we're going to do is put down a shield projector in here. And we need to be very careful about how we place this because there's really one specific design that will work, and other than that it won't because of the limited number of space we have in here. So we need to have power going in through the bottom using this RF exciter, and I guess we could kind of hook it up to this cable right here. So actually, yeah, we can probably do that so we don't waste the RF exciter. Do I have cable on me? Yes, I do. Awesome. So we can hook it up right there. This should be getting enough power then. And now what we need to do is get it a redstone signal that is going to be transmitted wirelessly to it. And to do that, we are going to be using this redstone receiver. Don't want to get teleported there. These should be set channel 1. And we're just going to have to flip it around so that that orange part is pointing in towards the machine. So there we go. Now this should be perfectly fine. And these should be linked to the same channel as this redstone transmitter right here. And what we're going to do is hook this up over in the main room of our base, and then we're going to have a lever that whenever we flip it, it is going to turn these on. So if we're ever feeling threatened or before we log off, we'll flip this switch and it should put our base into essentially like a code red lockdown mode. So to do this, we use shield templates to pretty much build the shield that this thing is going to create. Now the tier 1 can use, I think, 254. This one can use, I don't know if it's double or quadruple, but it can use a lot more than that, more than we're going to need. And I'm really not worried because we're going to use like 9 blocks on each of these. And the only problem is you cannot cover these with covers. It's a little weird. So I needed to redo the back right here of this. And I don't know how good it's going to look. I think it's going to look a little weird. But I think we're going to do it like this and then just put down a wedge slope right here like that. And I'll redo a little bit more of this later, but for now I think it looks fine like this. And you don't really need to access both of these at once, so I'm not too worried about this little portion in the center. And then I think we should just be able to put down, I need to get some more of these factory blocks, the wireframe ones. Should have some in here. No, there's some in here. Yeah, there we go. So we're going to just put these back down on both of the sides, and we should be good then. So one right there and one right there. And now what we do is we're going to, we actually might need to break this one right here real quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to place these down. They look absolutely atrocious when they're first put down. So we put them down like that. And then what we're going to do is I believe you click the block with a wrench. Yeah, okay, so look at that. That looks so awesome. So right here, this is a solid shield block. And you can actually walk through it. I don't know why it says it's a solid shield block. But now we can start messing around with the settings on this thing. So we can cover this up, and oh, you know what, we actually need to leave that uncovered for now because we can't access it. So there's all different types of things that you can set on this. So let us get rid of NEI, and we'll start reading this, because I'm not a super intelligent person when it comes to this mod, so I have really no idea what's going on here. I messed around with it a little bit, so I know the settings we need, but there might be other things that we can add to this. So entity that matches this filter can pass through. So everything can pass through here, and you can add a player name. So we're going to say matches player, and we're going to name it Dr. I don't know if caps matter. Dr. Ragehard. So this should say generic damage type. This means that I can pass through this no problem. Now, I think that we should say that entities that match this filter cannot pass, and we're saying any player other than me, I think, cannot pass. So let's just see to make sure that I can still pass through. Okay, so I can pass through that, and I'm assuming that this means that any other player cannot pass through that at all when it is on this setting. So this looks really cool right here, but I don't know if it makes it a solid block for other players or if it just damages them when they walk through. So I believe that we can use a solid block to set the shield texture for this. So I don't know if it actually makes it solid, but let's try this right here. Okay, so you can still walk through it, but let us just change it back to this. So I'll have to have someone else on here when I'm actually testing this, just to see if it makes it so other players cannot pass through. But this one seems like they cannot pass through. Hopefully it means there's multiple types of damage. There's damage as done by a player, and then there's generic damage type. Not too sure what the difference is, but we can also change the color of this, so we can make it blue, we can make it orange, and then we can make it this one. And are there any others? There's purple, white. I like this one the most, though. I think it looks really cool. And the last thing that we can do is set this so that it is redstone on to activate. So it's not getting a redstone signal right now, so it is not activated at all. You can walk through, no problem. And I don't even know, we should probably keep it up all the time, but we will still need a lever in case other players need to get into the base without getting hurt. So before I work on these other two, which are going to go right here and right here, we can come over here, and I'm actually going to put it right here, the lever that we are going to flip to kind of activate them. And it's really simple. So all we got to do is let's just get a throwaway block. Actually, do I have any right now? We can just use some of this cobble right here. So we're just going to build this up right back here. Can we clear out this block? Yes, we can. Awesome. So I think we're going to we should actually do that, and then we'll get the redstone transmitter, which is set to channel 1. Then we need a piece of redstone right here, and then we just need to make a lever. I don't think I have a lever on me right now. I do not. So we just need to make a lever and place it down right on the wall there, and we are good to go. So it was right here, I believe. So if you look over there, there's nothing. Should be that if we flip this lever, it turns on. Boom, it does. Awesome. So that is working swimmingly, and then we'll just flip it up. And another cool thing that we can actually do, I think, is eventually make like a sign that tells us if it's on or off up here. But right now, we should just know that down will be on and up will be off. And I can just put a regular wooden sign right here that says the controls. So now the next thing that I need to do is I need to put one right here and right here. The only problem is I'm having some trouble thinking how I want to actually put these down. I think what we're going to do is do it like this. So we're going to break this, and I think this is going to have an issue getting power now. So what we can do is come over here, and eventually we're going to move this, but we can get our wrench out and completely get rid of this cable. Oh, you know what? We have a problem then. This is not getting power. Here's what we'll do. Here is what we will do. I need some inventory room. Got to get rid of this. We can put a cable right there and then right there, and we can put a RF exciter right there. So that should be powering this whole cable, and now we can fill this back in. If there's any power issues, I'll know where it's coming from, but the reason we need to do that is because right here we're going to be interrupting this cable, and we might as well just completely get rid of it at this point on this side right here, because it's not going to anything. And right here we can just break that. And so now what we can do is, I was actually planning on putting it on this side, but it seems like it might be better to put it on this side. So one of these should still be set to channel 1. Where is it? This one is set to channel 1. The other one is set to channel -1. We're going to have to change that when we go to put it in. But we can put this right here. All we got to do is rotate it. And then we can throw this down right here. And we essentially are going to do the same settings. So pass, and then we're going to do matches player, Dr. Rage Hard. Oh, you know what would be interesting is if we do this. Okay, we're going to set it so the other one we know we can walk through. So this one we're going to say solid. Oh, you know what? Okay, so let's see. Cannot pass and gets damaged. Okay, that should be the one that happens over here. We should change this one to that. I should have looked through all the settings. So this one is solid and gets damaged. Let's see, that's, yeah, okay, so solid and damaged. So let's come over here and let's see how real this damage is if we set this correctly. So we can put these blocks back in right here because we don't need to worry about any of that. And then we can come over here, set this so let's do solid damage matches everything, add, and then break this block so that we can access the settings of this thing. And we need to get it power too, so we can just go under it and place an RF exciter. Whoa, okay, that's the floor down there. Whoops. We can fix that in 1 second. We just need to get some power on this thing. No. Here, let's break this one. That'll be a little bit easier to get some power on there. There we go. So much trouble just to get power on one of these. We can drop these sticks and repair the floor that we just decimated. There we go. Okay, so we're going to need to fill this back in with a factory block. And this should be good. Should be getting enough power right now, I think, to sustain it. I don't know how much it uses. But we can now throw these back down, and we're actually going to have to break that factory block again to wrench this properly. Darn it. Whatever, so we wrench it. Oh no! Crap! Oh my gosh. Okay, that does a good amount of damage. That does a good amount of damage, and that's got a good radius. Okay, so whoops. So let's set this to solid and just see. Okay, so you straight up, why is it still damaging me? It's not set to that. Oh, I didn't change it. Okay, so let's set it to solid again. And is that changing this then? If we, it's still set to solid damage. Okay. What is this? There we go. And then this one needs to be deleted. So it's solid for everyone. So you just can't walk through it. But I want, if someone tries to come in my base when I'm not here, they need to die. So that's what's gonna happen. We need to get our items back now, though. Oh my gosh. Okay, forget that happened. That was kind of embarrassing. That was not what I had planned. But that does a lot of damage. That was with diamond armor on. Granted, they have really OP armor, but that was with diamond armor on. And now we need to access the map and then waypoints, and we need to remove this one. Okay. So this thing is good to go right here. We just need to add one other thing. We need to do, they can pass through, and then player Dr. Rage Hard, and add that. So now what? We can't pass through. Player Dr. Rage Hard can pass, default, solid. Oh, we need to put this down. Okay, yeah, so essentially what that's saying is that this one overrides the other one. And let's make sure with this one that we don't die when we go through it, because I'm questioning now if we would die going through that. So let's flip that to put this on, and then we need to change this one to be that. So now this one is on. It should be perfect. So we can go through that one, and my question is if we will get hurt on this one still. No, we don't. Okay, so that's good. And let's just check one last time. I guess we can check once we turn it off. There we go, lighting bug. We can check, man, lighting bugs everywhere. We can check that the settings are correct, that it should be solid damaging players, so I can pass through, and then this one should be solid damage, and that one should be inserted, and then this one can be deleted. And now let's try turning it on, because I don't think that either of these were on solid damage before. So solid damage, then insert, and this one should be deleted. So we may have to get rid of that, and they may have to only be solid. Okay, so no, it doesn't hurt us at all. We can pass through, and it should hurt anyone else that tries to go through it. So the last thing we need to do is put in the last one over here, and unfortunately we have to break this wall and get in here so that we can change this redstone receiver to channel 1. Is this on channel 1? See, it's on channel -1. That's the weird part. I need to get it to channel 1. Let me click this. There we go, channel 1. Awesome. Okay, so this is now set to the correct channel. So all we gotta do is do the same setup. Whoops, didn't mean to place that. We just gotta do the same setup that we did before, and they should be good to go. And for this one, we're probably gonna want to place it on this side over here. And this actually should be okay, assuming that this is hooked up all the way across here. So I'm not too worried about the osmium compressor running out of power. I think we ran the cable all the way along the bottom. We can just break these, get rid of this cable right here because it's not needed, and this one right here, we can get rid of that. And yeah, it should be connected on the side. I'll check before we end the episode, but don't need to bore you guys with that. Essentially, I probably am boring you guys because we're just doing the same thing over and over again, but I think it's pretty cool. I really like the whole idea of like force fields and stuff. Where did that go? Okay, it's right here. So we place this down right there, rotate it, and then place this down. Now, if we upgraded these to tier 3, they would use more power, and they would also do more damage. So that is something to keep in mind. Now, this is going to make us fall down. Darn it. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we need to get an RF exciter out. And I actually forgot to break the block right below this. You know, we'll just break both of them so that it's easier to place. There we go. And just fix the ceiling, change the settings, and we will be all good. We will be protected for the most part from anyone that attempts to enter our base without our permission. So all that should be good, and now we can access it and we can say that pass player Dr. Rage Hard. We can add that, and then the other one will be solid damage for players without my name. And that should be good, I think, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think these will use up all the power. I just need to make sure they don't. So this one over here, yeah, it's at full power. So now we just need to, we're going to have to wrench it again. I kind of hate I have to do that, but it's really nice because if you ever do want to edit the way the whole thing looks, no, please tell me you kept the settings. Please. Forgot you just straight up right click it. There we go. Straight up right click it. Should still be getting power. Yes, it is. And we should be able to phase through it. No problems. Boom. And then the only thing that we have left to change is this. So base looks normal right here, except for that stupid little green guy over there. We flip the lever and boom. We have our nice little force fields on. We could honestly keep them on all the time. I'm not too sure how the power is going if they're on all the time. I don't think it really drains it, but we should probably keep them on all the time. And then if someone needs to get to our base, we can just turn it off. But I'll probably add more of these in later to our base. Might add one in like right here on this elevator in case someone like breaks in upstairs. But I don't think someone would do so much as to break blocks to get in my base. That seems a little scummy. So I think this is probably a shorter video today. I don't really keep track of time, which is why I usually kind of guess at how long they've been. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you found it interesting because I really think these are actually pretty awesome. Yeah, so hopefully we don't get pranked at all, but if we do, you guys will know about it in my video. If you enjoyed the video, though, feel free to give it a like. It helps me out a lot, and I will talk to you guys later.